If you are looking for a simple, aggressive, and less theoretical chess opening, then you can use the Colle system. It begins with the move d4 d5, knight f3, knight f6, and here you play e3. The idea is to play c3 or even b3 to develop this bishop here, and after black goes e6, you play bishop d3, he goes c5, striking in the center, and you just castle here, and after black goes something like knight c6. Here you have two choices. You can play positionally by playing c3, and you can also go with the aggressive option b3 to fianchetto shadow your bishop, and then take on c5 to open up this bishop in order to launch a kingside attack. Let's look at them one by one. First, let's look at c3. Let's say he goes bishop d6, developing his bishop and also preparing to castle. You develop the other knight, and after black castle, this is the ideal setup of the Colle system when you play c3. Here, the idea is to capture on c5, and after bishop takes, you can expand on the queen side. Let's say he goes bishop d6. Then here, you can play a4 or even c4. And after black takes, you can develop the bishop along this diagonal or even centralize your knight and move all your pieces to launch an attack on the king side. Now let me show you some popular responses. So here, after c3, black goes knight c6, you develop the other knight with the idea of playing e4 in order to open up this bishop. Let's say he goes bishop d6, preparing to castle, both side castle, and then you go d takes c5. Black takes, and then you go e4, striking in the center. If you take this pawn, then you can just recapture. Let's say you go something like queen c7, then you play queen e2, giving this pawn an extra support, rook e8. Now you cannot take, otherwise he will take with the pawn, and this will be a discovered attack on your queen. So here you play e5, attacking the knight. Let's say he goes knight d7, hitting this pawn back. Then you play knight to b3, attacking his bishop, bishop e6. And after that, you play bishop to f4. The position is quite better for white. As you can see, all the black's pieces are stuck on the back rank, and black is very much passive and behind in development. So this will be a good game for you. Now let me show you an aggressive option for white in the Colle system that you can use to win more games. So here, after c5, instead of playing c3, here you play b3 with the idea of fianchettoing your dark square bishop in order to launch an attack on the king side after black castle. So after something like knight c6, you develop the bishop, bishop d6, preparing to castle. You just develop the other bishop, black castle. Here, black have a common idea, which is either to play knight to b4 to trade this bishop, or even move this bishop out to put this rook on this c8 square in order to play knight to b4, so that we are forced to exchange this bishop. For example, let's say you place castle, he goes bishop here, and after something like, let's say you play rook e1, black plays rook c8, then you go a random move like king h1. Here he can take, and after you recapture, he can play knight to b4, hitting this bishop and this pawn, which is bad for white. So let's say you move your bishop somewhere, then he can take on c2, and this is quite better for black. Therefore here, good move for white is to play an early e3 to prevent knight to b4. So let's say he goes something like b6 with the idea of fianchettoing his bishop and putting this rook on the c8 square. You play knight e5, centralizing your knight. He cannot take, otherwise pawn takes, which will force the knight and the bishop. So he goes something like bishop b7, defending his knight. And now we will play this solid move f4, which solidifies your knight, and if black takes this knight in the future, you can recapture with the f pawn, and you will have an open file for your rook. So let's say he make a random move like a6. Then here you can just play queen to f3 with the idea of re-rotating your queen, and after something like say b5, you can play d takes c5, bishop takes, and then you castle here, and after something like let's say he goes rook c8, you can play queen g3. Let's say you take your knight and you recapture with the bishop, bishop d6 offering a trade of bishops. You just ignore this and play bishop to d4. And let's say you make a random move like queen to e7 with the idea of threatening this pawn, just play b4, and we go something like g6, blocking your queen. Then you can just play queen to g5, and this position is quite better for white. Black can't do much, so let's say he goes knight to e4, saving his knight and also offering a trade of queens. Then you can just play knight takes e4, and after something like d takes c4, you can play bishop to f6, hitting his queen, and it's over for black. If he moves the queen away, then it's mate in two. If he sacrifices his queen for two pieces, then you are just better. Now if you are playing as black against a Colle system, then there are many ways to deal against it. The best way to deal with the Colle system is to play bishop to f5 with the idea of playing e6, knight b d7, move this bishop out and then castle quickly, and the position becomes quite equal. Well, this is not the end. If you want to learn some more chess openings, then you can check out this left playlist, and if you want to learn some chess traps, then you can check out this right playlist. And if you don't want to miss more amazing videos like these, then don't forget to subscribe.